Your first thoughts on the possibility of elections on September 20th?
It's the least surprising snap election that Canadians have ever seen. We've been hearing rumors about an end of summer, early fall election since the beginning of this summer. It's really quite unsurprising that Mr. Trudeau is deciding to go ahead despite the cusp of the fourth wave of COVID-19 arriving.
That is a big concern because today Canada's top doctor did say that Canada is in the fourth wave, but she also said that if you follow all guidelines, public health guidelines, there is a way we can conduct these elections. We have seen provinces do that as well in the past 1.5 years. But do you believe, Stephanie, most of the election will be by mail, because we're looking at the number of cases rising because of the Delta variant, and there is a safety and health concern here?
Absolutely, and we've already heard the Director General of Elections speak about this. They're expecting that up to 5 million Canadians could vote by mail. They're also expecting that the locales for voting in person will be much different than what we've seen in the past. So we're looking at using cinemas, schools, gyms, for example, places where there's much more space to allow for social distancing in order to make polling day as safe as possible. But what will be the outcome of that is that we may not know the result of the election on the day of the election, as we usually do, if up to 5 million Canadians do vote by mail, because those votes are only counted on the day after the election.
That's right. So we could see the result and that anticipation only growing in those 48 hours for the results to come in. But Stephanie, let me also ask you about the timing of it, because having an elections is definitely a political choice for a prime minister, any prime minister, when there is a minority government. But is this a political gamble for Prime Minister Trudeau?
Any government who called for an election when they had a choice not to go into an election since the beginning of the pandemic has been playing Russian roulette, and this is no different. There could be an explosion of new cases of COVID-19. Of course, we've seen this eventuality happen in real time a few months ago in Newfoundland and Labrador, where the provincial election was almost derailed, and Premier Andrew Furey actually paid a political cost for deciding to go into an election. So this is a risk that Mr. Trudeau is taking by knocking on Rideau Hall's door on Sunday.
And what about the fact, because there are several polls, of course, that indicate over a period of time that majority of the Canadians are not ready for an election right now. And the Prime Minister, of course, opposition is saying that the Prime Minister is doing this in self-interest, is being selfish. We've been speaking to opposition members as well. Your thoughts on going forward, how do you think the Prime Minister can explain to Canadians that having an election this fall is absolutely important, despite the concerns we were discussing?
It's always a political calculation to call for an early election. There's no doubt about that, and this time around is no different from the previous times. The calculation that the Prime Minister is doing at this point is that he thinks that right now is his best window in order to gain a new majority in the House of Commons, in order to have free reign in the House of Commons, and to best manage the post-COVID-19 agenda in Canada. Obviously, the opposition is not in agreement with the Prime Minister with this, and we've heard Jagmeet Singh and Yves-François Blanchet notably say, listen, there's a bunch of items on the agenda right now that are unfinished on which we can find a compromise. Let's just go back to the House of Commons and finish that agenda before we're going into an election, which is also a fair point. There was room for maneuver in this minority government. It's not like they were in a deadlock.
That's right.
So the opposition will certainly play on this point during the election to try to make the Prime Minister look bad for calling an election at this point.
Yeah, that's a good point, because we have seen business being conducted in the Parliament. Work has happened. Files have passed. So questions will be raised. Was this absolutely necessary? But let me ask you this as a closing question, Stephanie. What do you think are going to be the main priorities and the issues that political parties will be looking at going forward?
Well, obviously, the post-COVID-19 pandemic recovery is going to be the ticket item. And the big question for Canadians will be, are the Liberals the best in order to manage what's coming in the next few months, or should we pass the torch to a different party? This is going to be what's top of mind. Of course, there's a few other items that are important. I think climate change is top of mind for Canadians with the wildfires that we're seeing, with farmers out west having the worst summer that they've had in decades, and the issue of reconciliation in light of the more than 5,000 recovered graves that we've had this summer. I think those are also going to be big ticket items.
They are very big issues indeed. And I'm sorry there's so much to talk about, Stephanie. So one more question before you go. So we know where the Liberals stand. We've heard from the NDP this morning as well. They have a platform ready. We heard from Jagmeet Singh himself. My question to you is in regards with the Conservatives. How ready do you think Erin O'Toole is? He has a task of not just familiarizing himself with Canadians right now, but also to have all Conservatives work together.
Yeah, and that's been an issue for him since day one. He has not managed so far to get this unity that's so needed within the Conservative caucus. He became leader on a true blue Conservative ticket, but we've seen him walk that back and become the more centrist candidate that we knew he was prior to his leadership race. And so this has caused tensions with parts of his caucus, such as obviously the Social Conservatives. So it will be, I think, a very difficult election for him because his caucus is not unified. And he, as you said, is not a very well-known entity to Canadians still at this point.
This is going to be an interesting election, and I'm looking forward to many other conversations with you, Stephanie. Stephanie Chouinard, an Associate Professor of Political Science at Royal Military College and Queen's University. Thank you for your time this afternoon.